Well, hello.
Merry Christmas.
Did you like the dramatic entrance? Does that work?
Hello. Kind of creeps me out, but it's cool.
Kind of creeps me out. All right. All right. Well, we know what he thinks about it. All right. So, welcome to the THF Extra Point Week 15 in the NFL. So, episode 15. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Kind of wish I won this week, but it's whatever. I get a better draft next week.
Oh, yeah. We got
next
some.
year, sorry.
The fantasy
Yeah, I left.
football seasons are coming to an end, and now now everybody's feeling a certain way about it.
Wakko, I just needed you to suck a little less and beat me. That's all I needed. Consolation means nothing. I could have had a better draft pick next season, but
Dude,
Let's
you
just
had
say
to.
I did not do bad on purpose. I actually really wanted to beat you.
I tried to manage. I tried to manage as inefficiently as possible. I did a pretty good job. I left 30 points on my bench.
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
You had
And
you definitely had some points on
I
your
had Josh
bench.
Palmer on my bench.
My team was so rough that I didn't even leave points on my bench this week. So, I mean,
Well, next season's a different story with 16 playoffs.
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Digital Navy, we want to say rip to your trophy. Like, sorry, no duplicate champions this week. But he's the best loser so far. He he really returned to championship form this week, and barely taking out Janu. Since we're talking about it now, do you want me to just go ahead and bring up the graphic? We'll just knock out the fantasy football stats, or I mean how the week shook up right now.
Yeah.
We'll just go ahead and knock it out, hey? Boom. There we go. There it is. Run CMC, aka Digital Navy, cleaned up the most this week with the highest score.
Did he rename
this-
you? Do you get renamed, or is that over now?
No, yeah, I said that when Q got his punishment last week, that last week was the final of it. Of
Boo.
the punishment. I had no idea. If I didn't known it was gonna be me, I would have just left it. I would have said, "Hey, let's just keep it going." But I did say that because I'm always curious what you guys really think of me. That determines how bad the name is. Like, if your name's really awful, it's like you can't even bear. You're like, man, do these guys
Ooh.
hate me?
Dude, you just got roasted in the comments.
What happened?
You just got roasted in the comments.
Renamed into Wakko Dome Whackers.
With the follow-up is the important one.
I figured that was the most shameful thing he could be called. My own team. Ouch.
Damn.
Ouch, bro. Ouch.
Brutal.
And, dude, I would expect that if that was Dabs talking. Like, you guys have that love-hate rivalry going on right now, and I love it. But, dude, I didn't do anything to you.
I'm glad Tua and the Pink's out because there's only one King of the Hill fan in this fantasy league, and that's me.
That was wasn't that Arrow Dark that renamed him?
Yeah, but look, he still got the picture.
Oh, he's got the Bobby Hill.
Yeah.
He never changed the pick back. We had some great renamings in for the week or being for this year though. We really did. That's for those that hadn't caught on to what we're talking about. If you if you have the lowest score of the week, then the highest score of the week gets to rename you whatever they want and change your profile pic. So, excuse me.
This is the first season in my 3-year tenure that I have not had the lowest score.
You didn't have it once?
Not once. I came close. I came really close a couple weeks, but I
Damn.
wasn't quite the lowest. So
I never had it either, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't.
I can
yeah, I
thank
don't
Q
think-
multiple times for that.
Yeah. Q
So-
had definitely had the record for the year on getting renamed.
Maybe the record of all time, bro. You think he's going to top that next year? I hope not.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Q's got up his sleeve for next year. He made some trades late in the season that made his team a little better. I think after that whole trade debacle, he only hit the lowest score of the week one more time after that. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But that's what Cheesehead was the second place team, and he ended up losing. A little bit of an upset here. He was projected to win by 16, and he ended up losing by like 20. So that's a little bit of an upset in the championship bracket. Then we got Cup Holder, who is the first place team, and dominant as usual, which is, I mean, anytime you get close to 200 points in our league, you had a strong week. You shouldn't lose. Janu knows all about that after this week. 182 on the losing end to 197.70. That's rough. That's rough. Like, I only scored 97.67, and so I deserve to lose, right? Janu, you didn't deserve that, bro.
Yeah. My bright side of thinking about it is, if I actually made it, I would have probably been going against Cup Holder and I would have lost. So, it doesn't matter either way. If I had filled in Tua's place.
No, you'd have been going next week. You'd have been going against Fiery Shits for the consolation bracket.
No, I was saying, like, if I made the championship bracket.
Oh.
If I had made the playoffs, he got 197, so I would have lost anyways if I had made it in. But
oh yeah, you're right. Okay, I get what you're saying. That makes yeah, for sure.
Honestly, I really am surprised I hit 182 because I really had a makeshift team. I mean, I had the Bengals backup quarterback as my QB since CJ Stroud's out, and I had Tank Dell out, so I had Addison starting, and Jefferson came back, so that made it even worse, which I thought. But then Addison ended up outscoring Jefferson by twice his points, which was really surprising to me. I thought once he was back that Addison was going to be dead, but he wasn't. And so, honestly, I had some clutch plays. I also picked up the Texans defense, and they got like 30 points, but it just wasn't worth it.
Bro, I will tell you, anybody that's scared to make moves and take a chance and just reconstruct your team week after week after week, like 182 points can be yours, because that's all Janu did all season long, was just continuously, like, I think you were like double the next closest team to you in moves for the season, like trades and waiver. Like you did so much every single week to tweak and fine tune your team. Like, it was insane.
Yeah, I did a lot more than last year. Just because, I didn't feel like I had the best keepers like I've been talking about all season, and I think I finally found some. But yeah, I ended up doing like over 100 moves. So I'm definitely not afraid to pick up some people and drop them.
A scary
I streamed
team
defenses and kickers all season.
Did you? I mean, I think I normally, this is the first year that I really hadn't changed. I had Brandon Aubrey all year, arguably the most consistent kicker in the league. I mean, the guy's perfect on the year, and has that one game he kicked a 40, 50, and a 60-yard. I mean, the guy was just insane.
It's really good.
I never had to change my kicker, and in my defense, I had Buffalo for the first half of the year, and then I started kind of dabbling in the switch 'em up mode, which is what I always prefer. That's what I do every week, is I change kickers and defense accordingly.
Yeah. I streamed all season, and I just played matchups, and I picked up the Chargers on two separate occasions, and both occasions they scored 30 or 40 points. So, and then on other occasions, I think I picked up Atlanta one week and they scored me like 5 points. So it's like, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that streaming
kickers
works, and defense, man. It can be a dangerous game if you're up against somebody close, because like you expect at least like 10, 15 points out of your defense, right? Like, that's what your goal is. Those weeks where you get 2 or 3, they can hurt. They can hurt bad. We had a lot of close games this season. Like, there were a couple of close games that were like Janu's, and I mean, 180 something points and then lose. That sucks, bro. A kicker could make that difference.
Well, that's some people's seasons. That's some people's entire season.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bolt, I think Bolt was the highest scoring in my division, and he was 4th because it happens, you know.
Yeah, bad schedule. I had the 3rd highest points in the league this year and finished in 7th seed going into the toilet bowl and lost.
Which is why next season we'll be solving that problem slightly with
a little bit.
The 3 division winners and then the 3 highest highest point scorers.
We'll have four playoff spots next year instead of 6, or I mean 6 instead of 4 rather, and that'll take a little bit of the luck out of the schedule. Because, I just had a terrible schedule. I had finished with the losing season, even though I was the 3rd highest scoring team in the league.
And I have an 8-man league, and I was 2nd lowest scorer, but my record put me 2nd seed overall. So it definitely helps, but it sucks when you're a high scoring team that just gets a screwy schedule, or you mismanage 1 or 2 weeks, and that makes or breaks you.
There, Digital Navy coming in with the fact check. Janu had 101 waiver moves, moves. The next highest was 43.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's insane, bro.
Yeah, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have all the people that I'm going to keep next year. But that's how it goes.
And that's not, you had a couple big weeks like that too. That's not your first like big scoring week.
Dude, I'm in the same boat. Like my entire team is like, it's either my keepers from last year or it's people I picked up. Like I picked up Josh Palmer, I picked up Jerome Ford when Chubb went down, I picked up David Montgomery. I think I had Cole Kmet earlier in the season. Or no, I had Waller, and then I picked up Kmet on the waiver. I think I had Lockett, and then I picked up Cortland Sutton, Christian Kirk, Joe Burrow when the first 3 or 4 weeks when he was injured or when he wasn't playing well, somebody dropped him. I was all over that. That locks me in for. I have Tua and I have Jamar Chase. I have Tua and I have Joe Burrow, at my QB spot. So I'm good for the next couple seasons. Fingers crossed. But
yeah,
filthy waiver pickup.
I got freaking Kyron Williams off the waiver wire, and for the weeks that he played and wasn't injured, he's one of the top scoring running backs this year. Like, he got me like 30 freaking points last week, and same with the week before. Like, I was missing him. He was out for, I think, like 6 weeks, and like that's one of the guys I ended up picking up too. It's freaking beast. Last year, one of my pickups was Mostert, and I dropped him because he was freaking 31 years old or whatever. I was thinking, like, this guy is going to keep getting injured, and then he went off this year. So those are my 2 biggest mess ups of this year that could have changed it. But, man, there's no way of telling, like, with a freaking running back that's that old.
Yeah, I have J.K. Dobbins on my bench still. I probably should have tried to flip him earlier in the season, but I honestly don't think I'm going to keep him.
Yeah. There's definitely some injured people that are big question marks on whether you're going to keep them next year if you're in a keeper league. Mike Williams was one of my keepers, and it's like, man. He's been gone all year. It's kind of hard to especially with the way the Chargers are right now. Like, oh my God. Like, I don't know if I want to keep anybody that's on that team. Eckler's my other keeper. It's like, man, ooh. Yeah, we got some decisions to make if you're in a keeper league, because this has been a weird year. I think my number one pickup though would be I can't remember his first name. Rice, wide receiver
Rashi
for
Rice.
Yeah, Rasheed Rice.
Rashi Rice. I think he dances on the line of a keeper the way that he's finished out the season. So I think that's my like hell yeah, I'm glad I saw something in that guy, in the middle of the season. Because I hung on to him when he wasn't really doing much, and it looked like no wide receivers from KC was worth having or at all, like let alone, keeping. And now I don't know. I think he might be the guy there.
Yeah, I mean he's leading rookies in touchdowns because Tank Dell's out. But
I'm pretty
I
sure
don't
he
think
scored like the last like
yeah.
every other game for the last like 7 weeks and the last two in a row or something like that. Yeah, I mean that's a lot for a guy that at the beginning of the season was unheard of.
Yep.
Let's go into real football for a moment and talk about our pick'ems this week, gentlemen. Because this was, I let me. I don't want to dominate the mic here, but I got to start on the pick'ems because last night was the absolute craziest moments for me. I'm sitting there. I said on last week's podcast, I'm taking Seattle. I'll just call it right now. This is going to be the Eagles' third loss in a row. Like, you can go back to, it's a little over an hour into the podcast last week. I called it. I claimed it on Pick'ems. I said I'm already doing it. My wife's the only one that listened to me. Just note that too. Lobster's the only other one that picked Seattle. Everybody else went with the favorite Philly. I told you guys. And then and so I'm praying for something at the end of last night's game to change. Like, it was low scoring, like I also thought. I called 36 points. It ended up being 37. It was low scoring, but Philly was up. And they go, Philly's up. Seattle scores that late, very, very crazy, like, touchdown. And it's like, but there's so much time left. Like, they can go down, or no, was it? Yeah, they could go down and score.
I think he had 38 or 37 seconds.
Yeah. And and so at the same time, I'm playing in my other fantasy league, I'm playing a guy who has Hurts and AJ Brown.
Yep.
And we were tied at 104 to 104. And Philly throws that one ball to AJ Brown. It was debatable whether he's out of bounds or not. They ended up saying, yeah, he was out of bounds. And so they have to go back and they throw then they run. Hurts runs. He runs for like 20 yards. And so the guy that I'm playing got up 2 points on me. And I'm like, oh my God, the only thing that can save me now is a Hurts interception. And sure enough, that next ball was an interception that ended the game. It was over. We went back to tied 104 to 104. And the tiebreaker is bench points. And I had Curtis Samuel go off this week. So that was it. I won. And then also Seattle won. So I was like, yes! Everything worked out.
I can't believe that, dude.
It was so nuts, bro.
In very similar fashion, I was projected to lose my first round of the playoffs in another 12-man league, and it came down to the guy I'm facing had AJ Brown, and he was down by I think less than 4 points, and if he had caught that pass, my season would have been over right there. But because it was intercepted, Brown didn't go over. We're in a half PPR league. He only scored eight and change points. So I beat the guy 117 to 111. And if he had made that catch, he would have gone over. He likely would have. He likely would have been the touchdown favorite because he didn't get one during earlier in the game. So it's these regular season games. It's crazy when you're in the playoffs because my fantasy season literally came down to the last 38 seconds of the last 38 seconds of week 15
Yeah, it was
in
nuts,
similar
man.
fashion.
I damn near lost my voice like cheering at the end of. I mean, Janu will tell you he heard me yelling. That's why he came out to be like, "What's happening in the game? What? I heard you yelling. What's going on?"
Yeah, I said Seattle must be winning because I just heard you yell.
Yeah, I was. Oh man, I lost my shit. I was like, "Oh my god," because I mean, like that was a very improbable touchdown by them. Like everybody was writing them off. They were already talking about Philly holding their game, you know, knowing that even though the Cowboys lost, and it was.
Well, I texted my buddy that I ended up beating anyway. I texted him early. I texted on that last drive. I said, "Hey, GG, it's just about over," and then Locke connects with Jackson Smith and Jigba and scores that touchdown. I'm like, son of a bitch! They have to score a touchdown, and there's 38 seconds left in the game. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna hit AJ Brown for an 80-yard touchdown, and it's gonna be over.
Oh
And
yeah,
luckily,
yeah.
he caught that one out of bounds, and then he got intercepted, and the fantasy gods came together and helped all of us out this weekend. It seems.
It was insane, bro. This is the league that is the auction league that I've been. My wide receivers are Lamb, Chase, and Justin Jefferson, and that then everybody else I drafted cost me like $1 because I spent all of my money in one basket. So I was like 4th in the league in power rankings, but my record was like 6-9.
Oh,
So I got in on my power rankings because they do their playoffs to where the top 4 score gets in, and then the top 4 power rankings gets in. So it's like it really helped me out, and I ended up winning first round of the playoffs because of last night. So I love it. It was so exciting. That's what fantasy football is all about. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what keeps you coming back for more. What about real life football? We went on about fantasy probably longer than we normally do, but obviously I don't have much to say about the Cowboy game. I'm sure I haven't seen Seven in the chat yet either, so I guess we don't have to talk about it. But what else? What other games happened this week, guys?
I'm kind of kicking myself. I could have sworn I picked Tampa Bay, but I looked back and I did pick Green Bay.
I was surprised that you picked Green Bay. I almost
I don't know what I was
asked you
thinking
about
because
it.
I don't know what I was thinking because even during the games, I was like, oh, I'm glad I picked Tampa, and then I looked back and realized, oh shit, I didn't pick Tampa. It was kind of like when I forget what game you mentioned, but you said you didn't know where you were. It might have been the Denver game that you had no idea where you were thinking picking Denver. It's the same idea. I don't know what
A
I
hype
did.
train.
I don't know what I did.
Yeah.
I meant to pick Tampa Bay. So
I know that Denver's
Can't
hype,
get him
but
back.
like Detroit is really good, so I had to pick Detroit.
You know, that
Um,
was the game that while I was watching it go down, I was sitting there saying, who did I pick? I said it over and over and over at the beginning of the game, and I was like, who did I pick? I couldn't remember. And I told my wife, I said, never mind, I'm good. I picked Denver. Or I mean, I picked Detroit. And I was like, I started doubting myself, and I was like, no, I got to look it up. And I went in here and pulled it up, and I picked Detroit or Denver, and I was like, I came back out scratching my head. I was like, why did I pick Denver? Like, Detroit is the better team. I don't know. I don't know why I picked them. I can't figure it out. I guess it was an emotional pick. I just bought into the hype, the Sean Payton and the Russell Wilson comeback, and I don't know. I guess in the split second, I just went with my gut, or I bought in. You know.
Well, on a good note, about the Bills at least, with them beating us, the way I think about it is there's a lot of teams going or potentially going into the playoffs that may not be that good or may barely just scrape into the playoffs that aren't that good. And the Bills have been playing really bad, like we were saying, but they are actually a good team. So to be honest, I would really like to see the Bills win it out and make the playoffs over some of the other teams because they're going to put up more of a fight against the teams they go against. They're going to be a lot better and more competitive to watch in the playoffs. Because if they didn't make it, honestly, would be sad because I mean, with the way their team was playing last year, they needed that revenge arc. So
I mean that is one of the best teams in the AFC. I think we all called that at the very beginning of the season. The fact that they were 7-6 going into the game with Dallas was a head scratcher. It's like, wait, what? They're in a dogfight. They're 11th in the 11th seed right now. Like, what Bills? What are you talking about? That's not. No way. Nobody would have believed this, right?
yeah, so right now, there's a couple of teams that have already made the playoffs. They clinched it, which are the Ravens, the 49ers, the Cowboys, and the Eagles. And then we have a couple teams in the hunt. But a lot of them, like I was saying in the Discord, I can repeat for the people watching, are tied right now at 8-6 or 7-7, and there are a lot of teams that are tied. So it's really anyone's game because, I mean, you have like Jaguars 8-6, Bengals 8-6, Colts 8-6, and you have Texans 8-6, Bills 8-6, Steelers 7-7, Broncos 7-7, and Saints 7-7, Seahawks 7-7. And the Rams and Vikings and Bucks are barely in the hunt as well with 7-7-7. It's like the playoffs are crazy right now. So these next couple games are going to be really important for a lot of teams, some of which already probably going to make it. But and speaking of Bucks, I'm definitely rooting for them to get in. They probably already are.
Baker Mania.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
rather see
Baker
Baker
balled
show
out.
because
He
right
balled
now
out.
they're already in the playoffs if we were to start it today, but you never know what happens.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
Now,
so it seems like New Orleans is trending upward, and it seems like Atlanta's trending downward. Atlanta just absolutely crapped down their own legs, like absolutely embarrassing loss. Their coach is an idiot. I mean, if they don't completely nuke the team like most other teams, I feel like they're kind of slipping on this. They're not really in getting the criticism that they deserve because I mean that division is so dog shit that they can actually they can kind of hang. They're not eliminated by any means. I mean that helps with Carolina in the league in the division, but they lost to Carolina. So I mean
to be
we're all
fair,
talking about.
isn't that a lot of the Bijan Robinson kind of mania though? Like they got the guy that was supposed to be like a game changer.
Yeah,
Like he
but
was supposed to turn them around, right?
but the Falcons are notorious for not being able to use weapons properly. They have Kyle Pitts, they have Drake London, they have Bijan Robinson, and they just don't use them properly.
I'm
And
just
these
saying,
are
like
all
that's why we
these are
kind of thought
all
Atlanta would do better though, because Bijan Robinson like was supposed to be so good.
their
He could
coaching's
fix
awful.
that team.
But so I feel like everybody's talking about the Patriots and the coaching change, the Chargers and the coaching change, potentially now the Steelers and the coaching change,
Yeah.
which is delusional to me, but that's another episode. Nobody's really focusing on the Falcons at all.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, Brian. They already have two studs, I think, with Patterson, his name is, and Algier. And then on top of that, they go and freaking draft Bijan Robinson. And it's like you already have two really solid running backs. Like I know the other guy, the secondary, was injured, but the starting I mean, he's really good. He did good last year, so I don't know why they stack on top of that. Yeah, Cordell Patterson. And they really could have traded him this year too if they wanted to, because he can be a starter, and he's still not that old. He's still pretty young.
The fact that they don't use Cordell Patterson as a starter is a crime, I feel, because I mean he did some time in New England and he really wasn't that good, but in his travels he's gotten a lot better to the point where I think if he plugs into the right offense, he could very much be comparable to Deebo Samuel, the same hybrid receiver slash running back type, and he's also an insane punt returner.
Years ago, Patterson was the man for a running back. He was like top 5 a couple years back.
I I could be more
Feels
leaning
like-
towards my fantasy bias on this, but isn't Cordell Patterson the guy that is like every year he's kind of like this guy could do more, and then he doesn't. He just doesn't.
He's in the wrong in the wrong system in the wrong offense.
He's been a lot.
The Falcons are not using him properly.
But he's been on a lot of teams. He was on Minnesota before those teams too. I mean, it's just like every team he gets on, they do less and less with him as his career has gone on. I mean, when he was with I want to say Minnesota was the first team he was on, where he was supposed to be. He was like at one point he was going to be like the guy in Minnesota, I think it was. And it's just like he doesn't perform. They go to the next place. The next place, everybody says he's gonna be it. He's gonna be the guy, and it just keeps not working out.
Well, what he should be for the Falcons right now is their RB2 and getting that work in. But right now he's just sitting at a RB3, just collecting dust. Like he had one good game this year because Bijan was sick and wasn't playing. Out of nowhere, and like that was it. And when he does play, he looks really good as a RB2. That would be perfect for their offense. They should just work with Algier. He's great. I know Bijan Robinson is a stud, but you know, like Digital Navy was saying, they could have went and drafted something else with their first round pick.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they just stack it. I think that was just a dumb decision.
I think if I think the ideal spot for Patterson would be Baltimore. You mix him in with Lamar. You know, he's an excellent. He kind of fills that hybrid role of he's a really good receiver as well as a pretty decent running back. I think he would be really complimentary in that offense. I don't foresee it happening, but especially in Baltimore where they have such high turnover with running backs, like their running back room is a mess over there. Because everyone gets hurt so quick. Like what's his name?
For who?
He just had a crazy game and then ended up getting hurt and he's out now.
Oh, for the Ravens?
Yeah.
Mitchell something? Keaton Mitchell?
Yep.
I think is his name.
Oh yeah.
Like he looked like the guy and then he's hurt and he's probably done for the season now. It's like I don't know what it is with the Ravens, but their running back spot is just cooked right now. It's absolutely the turnover rate is so high. Where if you put someone like Patterson in there, I think he would do really well. And proof of concept with that is look at OBJ. Everyone's saying, "Oh, OBJ is washed." He's hanging. He's doing pretty well in that offense. You know, he's a seasoned veteran. He does really well with Lamar. I would love to see Patterson on Baltimore.
Yeah, I think like what a lot of people need to understand is that a lot of players will do better in an offense that fits them and uses them correctly, whereas most people just look at the stats and look at how bad they're doing and not how much usage they're getting or how their offense is working. Because in certain offenses like that with the Ravens, like OBJ, he only wanted to go there. Because when he went to the Rams and everything, he didn't do much. He got injured. And, you know, same thing, I guess, with the Browns. He did decent. But with the Ravens, they're using him how he should be used. He's getting those deep targets. He doesn't even get that many targets per game. I think the most I've seen him get recently was like 4 or 5. Most games, especially the whole season, was getting like 2 or 3. But with those receptions, he's doing a lot because he's just a deep target. And that's what he's good at. And
He's always a touchdown threat, especially with Andrews out of the lineup right now.
Exactly, and they have multiple receivers that do different things, different weapons with Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. Whereas before, with
I
the
think
Browns and everything, they were just trying to make him the wide receiver one, which is fine. But
he got
usually
an
when you see that,
uptick in targets. I think when Andrews went down.
Yeah. Well, he's the
oh
guy
yeah,
now. They're. I mean, other than Zay Flowers, but he hasn't really kicked off yet.
yeah, he had a couple good games, but he hasn't been overly used
Not to
too
his full
much.
potential.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. Digital Navy says OBJ is a deep threat wide receiver. Lamar has a cannon for an arm, and with teams that rush us all the time.
Oh, there's a typo.
Huh?
Oh, you left Jacksonville black under Dabs, but it doesn't affect the total.
Oh yeah, that doesn't affect the total. But yeah, I forgot to change it. That I missed that one, changing it to the red. But that was a miss. Yeah, yeah. So Janu still has the podcast lead, 144 to 142 over myself on the season. Um, 3 weeks left. That's a lot of games. You guys could make up some ground. I could definitely fall back. Janu could fall. Yeah, I mean it's kind of anybody's game still. I think there's a lot of games left to be played, and pretty much, yeah, bye weeks were over a couple weeks ago.
Week
So
14.
yeah. So yeah, a lot could happen. A couple games that were kind of obvious to everybody. San Francisco, um, dominated. Kansas City. Did they dominate? How'd that game go? I
It
don't
was
remember.
27-17, and
What?
they Bailey Zappi had a really good first half, and then a really dog shit second half, and
uh,
that's 2 weeks in a row now.
I'm
And
really
then
surprised you picked
he gave
Giants, bro.
the running back touchdown to the wrong running back and fucked the parlay.
Wait, who picked the Giants
If Firestorm picked the Giants to win versus New
over New
Orleans,
Orleans?
Yep.
that's a bold pick. They
I
did
was
do
I was
really good
running
last year.
with Tommy Cutlets, dude. He was cooking for a while. He was him,
Vito.
but
Yeah, that dude looks clean.
similar
out there.
to continuing to bet Denver because they were in a run, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I still can't understand why I picked it. I honestly, I almost think it's a typo. But
Also, I'd like to comment on the Rams. I feel like Kyron Williams makes a huge difference for the Rams because ever since, like, as soon as they get him back in the scheme of things, it's like they have that run game with the already really good passing game, and everything just starts flowing, and they just put up mad points. So if they make it into the playoffs, I feel like that team's actually going to be pretty decent coming into it if they can keep him healthy. That is, because when they
that
get that flow going, it goes.
that's two in a row
And,
for them, right?
and Cooper Cup returning to true form definitely
Right.
helps as well because Puka Nakua is a filthy weapon, and for a while there it was the Puka show because they were running out the corpse of Cooper Cup every game, but he seems to be kind of getting back into the swing of things. A really long touchdown in this past game, and I think that's three games in a row with a TD now.
And I think, isn't that right? They've won the last two in a row, I think.
Yeah.
I believe so.
And I don't think they even need Cup when they have a guy like Puka Nakua that can do the work by himself, even if Cup gets re-injured. It's great when they do have him. It's definitely a lot better because he is really good. But
Yeah,
even
my
without
friend
him,
in the other league, he drafted Cup first overall, and like his first pick overall, and then he ended up taking he didn't even draft Puka. He took him on the waivers, and we're going into year two of a long term league, and he's still up in the air. Is he going to keep because we only get one keeper going into this next season? he almost wants to keep Puka over Cup. I think he's delusional to do that, but I mean, it depends.
Is it
It
a
really
keeper
depends.
league?
It's a keeper league. So
Yeah, I would.
next season we do the one keeper, and then the following year we'll do 5.
I don't personally think it's delusional just because Puka did insane for rookie year wide receiver stats. I don't have them all memorized, but I'm sure he broke a lot of records, if not got close on a lot of them. And based on the way he was playing, the type of quarterback that he has, Cooper Cup's already getting old. I think for a keeper league, I'd probably keep him too. But at the same time, it's like you're taking a risk over security because Cooper Cup's kind of already that security blanket. Like, he's a good player. But does he continue to get injured is the question, because that's been a problem. I mean, for any older player, really. And with a guy like Puka, he just started playing in the NFL. So you don't know. But at the same time, if you've made the right decision, I mean, how many years does that guy go off?
Yeah, I if you're in a position where you have to keep one or the other, then that might be dangerous. But if I think they're both kind of keepers still.
Well, they're absolutely both keepers, and they're by default his 2 options on his team. The rest of the team isn't really worth keeping over those 2 at least. So it's a really interesting question. Is like, do you keep Puka or do you keep Cup? Because I mean, who's really the top dog there? It's like for me. Going into next season. In my other league, I have both Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Same idea. Which one do I keep?
I would
Well,
for sure take Gibbs.
if you had
I agree,
Tyreek
but
Hill
that's
and Waddle,
I keep Tyreek. That's not even a question.
obviously, if
Full
you have
stop.
to choose between the two, you're taking Tyreek, but like you're keeping both if you have that option, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, you're keeping both, but in these hypotheticals where you have to keep one or the other for these teams, which are you keeping?
Yeah, I don't
Like
know. I think you still.
Mostert and a chain on Miami. It's like a chain's the rookie. He did really well earlier in the season, and he's been injured. But Mostert seems to, have come back from the dead, and he's one of the lead running backs in the league. Do we run with that success into next season, or do you go with a chain?
I feel
So
like for me, it's like with a chain, it's a lot different of a story just because a chain only played good in a couple of games, a few of them. And those were also games where they were already really high scoring. And in those games, Moster also most of the time put up more, if not around the same amount of points. Like that game that blew up for a chain was a game against Denver, and Moster had a
where they
shit ton
put
of
70
points
points.
too.
Yeah.
But so you think like, is it a chain being in the offense that makes them really good, or they're able to have Mostert go off too, or is it just a chain's ability? And he didn't really play much all season, so for him, that's like a really, really high risk. I wouldn't personally keep him unless you can keep multiple, because you have no idea how really good this guy is. So
So
it's
you
a lot
think it's
harder to
clear
tell.
you're taking Mostert?
I honestly, if I had a choice between other people, I would keep them first. Because same thing like last year, I didn't keep Mostert last year because he's getting older, and for a keeper league with a guy like that, you never know when he has a season-ending injury like Nick Chubb did. All those running backs that are getting older. It's honestly insane to me that he didn't get injured this year, because when I had him last year, it was like concussion, minor injury, questionable every single week. And I was like, dude, I'm done with this guy. And then this year, it's football. You never know. So, personally, I would probably, if I had to choose between the two, and I only had those 2 running backs, I would probably do a chain still just because of Mostert's age, and they're probably going to run with him more next year. But like, if I had other people to choose, I probably wouldn't keep both of them.
It's so crazy too. Like while you're talking about injuries and like what you're worried about and stuff. Like I keep thinking about Keenan Allen because I had the potential the first year in this league to keep Keenan Allen, and I dropped him, and Digital Navy picked him up. The bro was healthy so much of the season, took him to carry basically one of the wide receivers that carried him to a fantasy football championship, along with that CMC trade. But it was like, damn, some of these guys they get this tag for injury prone. Sometimes they don't deserve that label, and I bought into it that year, with that guy.
Look at Joe Burrow. I mean, he kind of is injury prone, but someone gave up on him week 4 this season, and
yeah. Now,
he's
to be fair,
he's still a S tier quarterback.
Yeah. To be fair, the Joe, no, the person that dropped Joe Burrow had Goff and another good quarterback too, and so it was like Joe Burrow kind of sucked for the most part through before his injury. So it was like, damn, now he's hurt too. All right, well, we'll just let him go, and then he came back. He was kind of on the uptick right before he got hurt, but it wasn't. He still wasn't stellar. He wasn't old last year's Joe Burrow. I think a lot of us midseason wrote Joe Burrow off. I think.
Yeah, and he came back and was doing good for a couple weeks, but then injured again. So you just never really know. So at the same time, I remember we're making jokes about me keeping Justin Fields, but it literally doesn't matter anyway because they both shit the bed this year, and I needed to get apparently an entirely new quarterback and just not keep both of them.
I kept Tua. It worked out.
Yeah,
I was catching some strays early in the season for keeping Tua.
Hey Seven, who's Josh Allen? Isn't that the guy who's throwing all those interceptions this year? 25 interceptions or something.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Yeah, you showed up late. We already talked about it.
Actually, to be fair, we didn't talk about the Dallas game. I glazed over it for good reason.
I talked about it.
We got to be fair, right? We got to be fair. We can't just talk about the Cowboys when they win because we do definitely have to talk about them when they lose. And they lost this week handedly. And it was rough. It was rough. As a Cowboy fan, I was sitting there and I was pissed because we were getting run on. We were getting trucked.
James Cook just absolutely spit roasted the defense. It was unbelievable.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know who the guy was. I didn't realize that they had a guy that was even capable of doing this to Dallas. And I don't mean that as any disrespect to James Cook or the Buffalo, but damn, that guy, you heard that was the biggest rushing game that Buffalo has had since Thurman Thomas.
And that was the most points, I think, or the most rushing yards that Dallas has even let any team put up because they were holding every running back, so I think under 100 yards every single game. And so there was a big issue there with defense, but it really was both sides of the ball because we weren't putting up points and we were letting them put up way too many points. So it's kind of hard to blame either side. On one end of it, you have, the rumors about so many people on the defense being sick and, having those issues, which can make a player play worse. But, for some players like Micah Parsons, they can just run through it. So it's hard to say if that really is a valid excuse for that. But same thing what we say with Dallas every single year. Obviously, this wasn't a playoff game, but this could have been. So Dallas needs to figure it out quick because
it had the atmosphere for a playoff game.
Yeah,
at least in Buffalo it did, and they didn't. The Cowboys did not rise to that occasion.
Yeah, it's Dallas seems like when we go out and play somewhere else, it's the team just doesn't have that motive. We don't look excited. We don't look into it unless we're already winning. We need to get that motivation and we need to get that oomph because, like you were saying, this game is just like a playoff game for us. obviously the Eagles, defeat them losing against us was really good, but the Eagles just lost to the freaking Seattle Seahawks, and they barely won against Washington multiple times. And our win against Seattle was good too, but we barely won that, and now we're losing to the Bills by how many touchdowns? The Cowboys got to figure it out, and we have a couple tough games coming up. So
Miami's going to be tough too because that's another team that has the ability to run the ball down your throat. And so that's look, Arizona won, they ran the ball. San Francisco won, they ran the ball. Did the defense, you know, hold those guys to a little bit less than they were used to getting? It doesn't matter. They ran the ball. That seems to be how the Cowboys are built. It's a pass defense, and they're built around stopping the pass. And to be wholly successful with that type of a defense, you have to have an offense that can stay ahead and make the other team just pass. Because if they can run against you and get a lead, they're going to be dangerous. You're going to have a hard time with the way this team is built.
Yeah, whatever it is, the Cowboys got to step it up for sure, because we can't just be all comfy in our home games when we want to win. We got to be able to win on the road. We
Because especially if Philly holds on and wins the division, and Dallas has to go on the road for a wild card game.
That's not the position you want to be in.
Like, nope. It just not at all. Was like not a good game for the entire team. Like, no player had a good game. Nobody. The defense was getting ran on. Dak had a terrible game. CeeDee Lamb wasn't doing that. Nobody was doing anything. It's like,
yeah, it was tough. It was tough to watch. That's the first game of the season that my wife was like, "Do you just want to turn it off?" And I'm like, "No, I can't. I can't. I can't." But
that's the first game. San Fran was nasty.
It was, but I don't know. Something about, maybe it was because of the caliber of team. We all know San Francisco's the best team in the league. We've been saying it all year. We doubted them during the three game slump, but since then I kind of think they proved still that they're back. So no, getting beat by a really good team, I don't have to turn that game off. Getting beat by a team I expected to win against, even though I admit they are a great team, I expected to win this game, and it was, I guess that stuck, and so yeah. It was. I didn't like the fact that we weren't showing up. We got beat by Philly. I was on the edge of my seat the entire game, even though we were losing the whole damn game. It seemed like, but I was on the edge of my seat. I always knew we could win.
Well, hopefully this is the motivation that the Cowboys need to pick it up after losing that bad, because we're not gonna be able to let that happen in these next couple of games, these good teams, because if we lose these next couple of games, the playoffs are gonna look real bad for us. Because in my opinion, the Dolphins and the Lions are a lot easier opponents than the 49ers and the Eagles. So
are we going is Detroit coming here, or are we going to Detroit?
Let me see.
I just want to double check that before I say my next. I was thinking we were gonna. So Detroit's here. Next week is the most important game of the season for the Cowboys, because the Cowboys have to beat a good opponent on the road to have the confidence that they can do it in the playoffs. If they don't do it, that's going to be the monkey on the back, is you haven't beat a good team. You definitely haven't beaten a good team on the road. You're not going to be able to do it here. And that's going to be like, I think they have to have the game against Miami. Wait, is Miami here too? No, Miami's on the road, right? Yeah, at Miami. Yeah. It's got to be. They have to. This is the most important game of the season. Because they lost in Buffalo. If they'd have gone up to Buffalo and dominated Buffalo or even won a close game, they did it on the road against a really good team. Miami's even more important, especially now.
Yeah, I mean, if the Cowboys lose this week, this is the game that they look back on. You know, for a while there, it was the Arizona game that was like the thorn in the side, kind of like with the Eagles, it was losing to the Jets. You know, those were like you guys should have won those games, and all these seedings would have been different if they hadn't thrown those games. So, especially to two AFC teams, 2 weeks in a row. I know it's on the road, but yeah, they gotta if they want to maintain any hopes of being competitive, they're gonna have to win this game. But
yeah, that's just too much to get into your head and going into the playoffs as a road team, losing back-to-back games to road teams. Like, that's, yeah, you can't, yeah, they have to. This is the opportunity for them to get the momentum they need to go into the playoffs. You have to have nobody wins without momentum into the playoffs. Nobody wins the Super Bowl without that. You know, you can't limp into the playoffs and still win in the playoffs.
So far, the teams that are eliminated are the Patriots, Jets, Titans, Commanders, Cardinals, and the Panthers. And the Raiders and Chargers aren't probably making it, and the Giants and Bears most definitely not making it. So, and everyone else besides those people are really close. So
it's a bigger list of names that are still in the hunt. Because there's only 3 teams in the NFC and 1 team in the AFC that have clinched, right?
See, there's 3 teams in the NFC and 1 AFC.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's like, it's crazy. There's one of the teams that has 10 wins in the AFC still hasn't clinched a playoff spot. That's how close the AFC is.
The AFC is just insane this year.
The AFC South has Jaguars 8-6, Colts 8-6, and Texans 8-6. Like, bro.
Yeah. Look at the North. You have the Ravens. You have all 4 teams are. I mean, the Steelers are just they're fading into nothingness, but they're still in the hunt. You know what I mean? That whole division is in the hunt.
Yeah, it's nuts. The AFC is. Really,
I think the success that
the
success that the 3 teams in the NFC have had are being able to take advantage of those bad NFC teams, because they're not doing great against the AFC teams, and AFC is just there are a lot of competitive teams.
Yeah, it switches everything up this year, especially with the Chiefs being 9-5 this year. Because Chiefs have been so dominant for so long, so it kind of switches some things up.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would argue that NFC, it's make or break for the Cowboys. The Cowboys have to win something this year. They have to at least make the NFC Championship. Otherwise, it's the same old, and it's just another year of repeating the cycle. You know, everyone points to the Bills as the make or break team. You know, the similarity, the 2 teams are so similar. But I would argue that this season is a make or break for the Chiefs. You know, everyone's talking about Patrick Mahomes is on course to match Brady, and to match the Patriots dynasty, but they definitely took a big step back this year. And if they can't turn it around, and if they can't get back into relevancy, there's a good chance they regress even further, and that makes things way more difficult. To be fair, though, the other side of that coin, the cap goes up next year, and they'll definitely rebuild and they'll figure something out. And Mahomes isn't going anywhere, but given how tight the AFC is right now, if the Chiefs choke away a couple more games and Denver at least somewhat maintains, there's a good chance Denver wins the division. And something Patrick Mahomes has never done is gone on the road and made a deep playoff run in on the road, in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's
So
always had home field advantage.
he always has that home field advantage. So it's make or break for a lot of these teams. But I would argue in the AFC, it's the Chiefs the most.
Well, it's not that unreal that it could happen because the Chiefs' next game are the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Chargers, which, the Raiders before seemed like it wouldn't be that bad, but the last game against the Raiders, at least at the start, was close, and the Raiders have been picking it up. And the Bengals,
I mean, they scored 63 the other night, right?
The Bengals could potentially give them some problems, but like the Broncos schedule, look at this, and the Broncos get the Pats, then the Chargers, then the Raiders. So slightly easier with the Pats coming first, but their schedules are really similar. They both go against the Chargers and the Raiders, and then one different team each. The only difference is Broncos get Pats and they get the Bengals. So if the Broncos win the next 3 games and Kansas somehow loses one of those, I mean, it could happen. It's not that unreal if it happens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely what, the Chiefs and Mahomes are definitely weary of. I mean, for sure. Arrowhead is one of those whole serious home field advantage stadiums. There's only a few in the NFL. Arrowhead, Lambeau, Seattle, like these are stadiums that are always a home field advantage. Like they're just tough places to play, especially you get late in the year and in Lambeau. Man, that place is nuts, But Arrowhead, I think Arrowhead overtook Seattle as the loudest
because Seattle
stadium.
was the loudest for a while.
Yeah. The Arrowhead eventually overtook it in more recent years since they've been so dominant. Their fans are just rabid, man. Those guys bleed everything. Arrowhead, it's crazy. Yeah, it's so much can happen in all of it in the NFC too, considering there's only 3 teams that have clinched. I mean, there's a couple divisions we don't even have a clue who's the favorite to win it, because in Detroit, they're up, but they're so volatile. We still believe they're probably going to win it and they're the best team, but they haven't clinched it yet, and surely they got some divisional games coming up. Obviously, the NFC South is anybody's game if you're not Carolina. I mean, there's 2 teams that are 7-7 and one that's 6-8.
Yeah.
So,
and again, the Saints are trending upward, and the Falcons are trending downward. The question is, what does Tampa do with it?
49ers are done. They got that locked. The next Los Angeles at 7-7. Yeah, no, thank you. But Cowboys, Eagles, that is putting all bias aside. That's a coin flip, or does Philly have it?
Philly has an easier schedule.
Yeah,
like by a lot.
But then they went and lost a game they were supposed to win.
They did, even though I called it. I totally agree with you guys that they were supposed to win that game.
Well, will the make or break them is if they choke and give one up to the Giants.
And that is what I've been saying.
Their remaining schedule is literally the Giants, the Cardinals, and then the Giants again. So they're probably not going to lose those, and we have the Dolphins, Lions, and the Commanders. So, like,
It really all depends, if the Niners are if the Niners clinch the first overall, and it's coming down to who's fighting for the division, that's when it gets interesting. If Philly holds on and gets first overall, there's a good chance they win out, or they simply lose the last game for no reason. The rest of their starters, but if they're fighting for the division, I don't see them losing these 3 games.
I think it's clear they are already fighting for the division because San Francisco has the tiebreaker on Philadelphia, so they need San Francisco to lose 2, and so it's pretty obvious San Francisco has the 1 seed locked up because they also have the tiebreaker against the Cowboys. So, I mean, both teams are fighting for the division at this point. Like, that's pretty clear and obvious. So, I think you got to question what happened in Seattle. Obviously, Seattle's a tough place to play. Much like Dallas, Philly's actually not great on the road. So there you go. They got to go on the road against a divisional opponent who they see two times in 3 weeks. Who's that benefit? Does that benefit the better team, or does that benefit New York? Seeing each other 2 times in 3 weeks.
Well, that benefits the Cowboys for sure because they might lose because of that. At least for us, the Giants have been playing better recently, and the Eagles have been playing worse. So that's all we can hope for.
Well, and look at this. The Giants are who they are, and they have to find ways to play up. And I think getting to look at your opponent is a way to play up. Philly's only going to play as good as they can play. Giants are going to get a peek at them and then have to play them again. If they don't beat them the first time, I like their odds the second time. So I don't know. I think it's definitely possible. Not to the point where I'm going to call it, like I did the Seattle game, but I'm telling you, I'd put some good odds on it.
Well, we need to win these next few games for sure.
Yeah, the Cowboys have to win out. They don't have a choice. Like I said, the next game is the most important game. They can't lose to Detroit. Like they can't lose because they can't lose at home. They can't. Of anything momentum, they can't blow a game at home after they've been so dominant all freaking the last 2 years. That would just be a kick in the tooth. So they have to win against Detroit. It's not as important as the Miami game. They could potentially rebound and start a new streak at home, but you don't want to, you don't want to limp into the playoffs, and so I don't think you want to lose to Detroit. Did we talk about all the games we wanted to talk about there? Because
yep.
We can talk about our last bit of
talk about
agony.
Sports losing.
Sports losing. There we go. I was struggling for the words. Sports losing is a good one. Oh my goodness! Our 4-pick parlay for week 15 was so close. So close to getting us back on track.
They let the wrong running back eat. Wrong running back eat because Kevin Harris, who is elevated off the practice squad, instead of letting Zeke do what he does best and score and red zone touchdowns, nope, they gave it to the second string. They gave it to RB2. But
And I thought I was going to blow it watching the Cowboy game, man. I had my doubts about CeeDee Lamb getting in the end zone. When he finally did, I was like, whew! I bet into a run. Don't let me be the one. Because all season long, Ray has been dogging my boy, saying that he has messed up so many bets for him.
it's messed up most bets. He's messed up most of them.
I did
I think
not
we've hit
want that
twice on
happening to
CD
me.
now. That's it. We hit more on Christian McCaffrey. Like we hit him like 3 weeks in a row, and I think we bet CD like 6 times total, and he's hit twice. So I still don't like the numbers.
Hey, I like it better than the Zeke bets we've had. You're 0%.
Well,
No,
let's try to run it back.
Yeah. Yeah. And his name is definitely TD Lamb. You're right. You're right. So what do we got? Oh, man. Do I take it again? Do I take CD Lamb anytime touchdown again?
I think we gotta switch it up a little bit.
Easy for you to say. Look, let's do this. I wanna well, we can talk about him now. We can talk about him now. Let me take a peek. I've had a couple different things that I've looked at with CD Lamb. I've taken the TD anytime, got it. I've taken the yards one time, it failed. I think I took the receptions one time and it hit. So let me take a look. What do you guys got? You got something? What is Dabs had? He put his in the Discord.
Yeah, Dabs has Jalen Warren anytime touchdown against the Steelers. Or I'm sorry, against the Bengals.
Do we like that?
I don't hate it, but I'm not. I wouldn't be. I would not be touching Pittsburgh with anything right now.
See, that was kind of how I
but
felt.
He
about
keeps
the
he
Zeke
he. I think
pick.
he has the best percentage out of all of us, so I can't really say much.
That's true. He probably does.
Because he took David Njoku over 40.5 pass receiving yards in this past one, and like there was a good spell of the game where he was down in the 20s, and then he ended up with over 100. So I mean he's doing something right. So I'm not gonna. I am in no place to criticize. So Jalen Warren anytime touchdown is plus 180.
I'm gonna take Kyron Williams over fantasy points, if not rushing yards.
Kyron Williams. I don't think I have the option for yeah, I don't have the option for fantasy points. But I do have the option for receiving yards.
I don't want receiving yards, just rushing.
Oh, just rushing?
Yeah, rushing or rush attempts, but preferably probably rushing yards.
Why can't I find what CD Lamb's options are? I'm so bad at this because I don't use this app.
Yeah, he's actually not posted yet, so.
Oh. Well,
is there a number on Underdog yet for that one?
Yeah, it's at 88.5.
So Kyron, 88.5.
I really want to take another CD Lamb bet, but if he scores a touchdown this week, it'll be his third game in a row. And most of the season, he's gone every other game except for the last 2 in a row. Or no, is that? I'm thinking of somebody else. I'm not even looking at it. I'm doing it from memory. And it's a bad memory, too.
You could ride the hype train with James Cook and take those rushing yards against the
I
Chargers.
wouldn't touch that. I would not touch that. Nope.
Rushing against the Chargers, yeah.
The with how well, so they let up
No, 5
they let up the
games.
most passing yards of any defense, but with the Buffalo offense, they're so up and down, in and out. It's I would not. I wouldn't touch that.
Oh yeah, super inconsistent.
Wicked inconsistent. It's really dangerous.
That's right. It was the touchdown anytime that saved me on CeeDee Lamb because he didn't get a receiving touchdown. It was a rushing touchdown. That's where I was. Yeah, I got CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown again. I'm running it back.
Okay. All right, and then I'm going to take. Stand by.
He hates my CeeDee Lamb bet.
I mean, you might as well bet the run, but
You said it all season long. You never bet out a run.
where am
He
I?
hates
Here I
my
am.
CeeDee Lamb bet.
All right, so I'm going to take the Jahmyr Gibbs plus 58.5 rushing. Or you know what? No. I'm going to take the Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown. That's what I'm going to take.
Oh.
We were just talking about him. So I'm taking the Kupp. I'm taking the Kupp tutty. I really want to take the Hunter Henry touchdown, but
Damn, no! It's a
I'm not gonna
Thursday
do
night game, bro.
I really like it. He's got better odds than Puka.
You're doing this to spite me, aren't you? Because you hate my CeeDee Lamb pick. So you're
I
like,
don't know,
you know
I
what?
mean-
I'm taking a guy on Thursday night. Wakko hates guys on Thursday night.
That's. I mean, we could really mail it in and just take CMC anytime touchdown.
Well, Cup's gotten a touchdown on every game the past 3 games, and he's gotten over 100 yards in the past 2 games. And we have 2 Rams picks if it stays that way.
And they're facing the Saints.
Oh wait, 2 Rams picks. Who picked? Who else?
Kyron Williams.
He's
Oh,
taking Kyron over on rushing. So yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I like the Kupp anytime touchdown.
I hate
Against the
Thursday
Saints?
games.
Against the Saints, he's getting a touchdown. Unless Stafford royally craps himself, I got the Kupp tutty.
The Rams are going to absolutely go off on that game like they have been the last 2 games, in my opinion. I think they're going to keep the ball rolling. But
All right, so
This could be our first 1-4 week.
yeah, you're right. Dabs is probably gonna hit.
I'm kidding. Somebody's got to be a protagonist here. I hate them all.
Well, we keep now. You guys are burning your money also, but I've been burning my money all season. So
We've
need
been
to
playing
win,
with the
man.
house money all season.
That's a good point, but it's still not the same. All right. So we are up to $130 on the season. We have still won over $300, keeping us in the green. This week's primetime parlay, we have Kyron Williams over 88.5 rushing. If that number switches to lower, I'll take it again, regardless. We have a Jalen Warren anytime touchdown. We have a CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown, and we have a Cooper Kupp anytime touchdown. So I do not have all of these available yet to bet on. So keep an eye out for the Discord. We will have the bet slip posted for those of you degenerates that want to keep keep losing money with us. Once again, do not take anything we say is not betting advice. Do not bet money you cannot afford to lose. Don't
Never.
try to chase losses. Just you're better off saving your money. Look, there are plenty of
Don't
banks doing
gamble,
crazy good.
kids.
There are plenty of banks doing crazy good CDs right now. You can get APRs of like 5%.
I
So,
know of a
like,
good CD.
Yeah, well, one of those is insured by the Fed. The other one is not. So
CD Lamb, baby.
Better not
Let's
miss
go.
it this week, bro. Like
Talk
after
a lot
all
of
that,
shit.
yeah,
Talk
because
a lot of shit.
they miss a lot. So hopefully you're right.
all right,
I would like to go back and look at the stats on who has missed the most and least.
it's me.
We-
I've
Well,
missed.
I
I've
feel
missed
like
the
I
most.
hit almost every week. I feel like my picks have been good.
You missed a couple. I
Yeah,
honestly,
I think we've
I'm
all
pretty
missed a
sure. I'm
couple.
pretty sure Dabs is the first, and I hate to say it, but I think Wacko's second. But you got it's much closer for 1 through 3 than it is 4 because I missed a lot.
I have them all saved
But,
up. I'll go back and look. I might need help remembering who picked what. I'll
yeah,
have to check it out. I really do. We should have been keeping track of this all season. I don't know why we didn't.
Yeah,
We'll get it set up for a graph though for the end of the season.
I also like taking riskier picks so the payout goes up. But the past couple weeks, I haven't really been taking.
yeah.
Risky
Because I mean,
picks.
we could. I think we kind of have a gentleman's agreement that we're not taking like negative 900 bets. Like
Yeah,
oh,
we're trying to win here.
you could pick any game. You could pick any game and bet that the first kickoff of the game is going to end in a touchback. Okay,
Yeah, we're
cool.
not doing
Negative
we're not
1,200 odds.
we're not doing a spread here to where we hedge our bets. This is one bet we're trying to win.
Yep.
We really are. It's just not going our way.
Yes.
That's
I
why
mean,
you
it went
should-
our way early in the season, and then I mean, look at underdog. It's underdog is just the proof of concept with that they know what they're doing and they know how to make money.
The house always wins, folks. They got to figure it out. I tell you what, the beginning of the season is when to dip your toe in and get out. We were all winning a little bit more collectively and individually at the beginning of the season.
Dude, I was winning on every single game.
That's not betting advice either, by the way.
Yeah, don't do that. I was putting 200 in every single game and profiting, and then all of a sudden it just cut off. As soon as I started helping everyone, I just lost all of it.
That's not what it has to do with. Our podcast doesn't get that many views.
No, I was talking about the spreads, not the podcast stuff. But yeah, just keep my riches to myself.
No, I really do think. I think a lot of people have the same story though. Like the beginning of the season, they were popping a couple of them. You know, they were doing good. They felt great. Like, man, I'm nailing it this season. And then it just slowly starts to trickle away, chip away. All of a sudden, you're not the chip leader at the table. The house is. Yeah.
I'm gonna figure this shit out next season, bro.
That's what everybody says every season.
Yep.
Every season. I got a new plan this year. Watch this.
All right, just watch.
It's not gambling advice. If you believe you have a problem gambling, dial 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, boys. That's our night.
Just about.
Do we have something else to talk about?
Nope.
What did I forget? Are you typing something to me?
No. I'm looking at lines,
Oh,
but that's all I got. Merry Christmas, everybody.
hey, that's a
Happy
pretty good extra
Festivus to the
point.
rest of us.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. I guess we'll see you before the new year, but yeah, hope everybody has a great holiday weekend, no matter what you celebrate or support, believe in, etc. Hope you have a great holiday weekend for sure. That's a great way to end the show before I almost said Thanksgiving. What the hell? Christmas.
I wish it was still almost Thanksgiving. We'd have a lot more betting success.
I got my tree up. See,
But,
my Zelda.
yep.
All right, boys. Good night.
All right. Peace.